Manila International Airport, a bustling site thriving with thousands of travelers flying in and out of the capital city. A melting pot serving as gateway to the rest of the Philippines and the world. A jump-off point to exotic destinations anywhere in the globe, and it's where travelers begin to get a taste of the country's vibrant noise and chaos. For aviation enthusiasts, this is a place where their dreams and favorite pastimes take flight. Until the coronavirus pandemic began, that the airport is shut down to leisure travel the following year. As evening sets in, I cruise along the once busy streets of the city. With restrictions on road travel eased up after months of community quarantine, I head off south to gather personal and medical supplies in the area. And with the airport nearby, I wonder, during these times, what goes on at the airport terminals in Manila. Okay, so we're in one of those fences here sa side ng NAIA. And there's about just 2 planes. Usually at this time around 8 o'clock, meron ka naririnig na ingay ng mga planes, yung spingay. Pero now it's quite eerie. All you can hear are, you know, crickets. And I don't know if you could see the planes behind those yung itong barriers, but we'll be going up there just to check kung makakuha tayo magandang view. Yan. This is Manila International Airport's Terminal 1. What used to be a bustling terminal packed with cars trying to squeeze their way to drop off passengers is now what seems to be a temporary parking lot, seemingly setting movement along the driveway to a standstill. Yet, on one side, signs of life. At a distance are passengers lining up to enter the departure area, this time with almost no well-wishers or loved ones around to give emotional hugs, or at least to bid them goodbye. In one area of departures, some travelers are seen as if waiting for other companions, most likely overseas workers permitted to travel and return back to work in foreign lands that offer better opportunities. Sadly, there are no celebrations, no gleeful goodbyes. Just a quiet exit the way these parked planes will be flying out of this country almost unnoticed. Downstairs at arrivals presents a different scene. A normally populated area now deserted, seemingly begging for any presence of arriving passengers. Wala masyadong tao ngayon sa arrival, so what we're gonna do is that we have to move to Terminal 2 to have our tickets fixed kasi bago mag-expire yung ano niya. So, okay. What used to be a very busy airport, wala. Ngayon, lalo sa arrivals, it's just this. Looks like more of the passengers pumunta dito sa airport are departing at this time. Anyway, we'll move to Terminal 2. Yun. With barely any highlights in an otherwise vibrant atmosphere, I move to another terminal only a short distance away. Terminal 2 is just a short walk from Terminal 1, and yeah, papaayos tayo ng ticket uli ng voucher because I've been thrown back and forth to different departments to have my ticket fixed. So it just so happened I'm here na rin, so in the area, so why not just park and then just go from one terminal to another, have it fixed, and then yun. Upon reaching the Centennial Terminal, it's no surprise to find the place reduced to what one may describe as that resembling a ghost town. With strict travel restrictions imposed by the government, arrivals are at a minimal, leaving even its peak hour activities almost dormant. Passengers passing through this airport has dropped, and with not much movement from tourists, it has left businesses such as taxi services idle. Meanwhile, as I reach departures at the second level, another heartbreaking sight. The height of the pandemic only shows more of the airport's empty halls and establishments, highlighting tourism and the airline industry at its lowest point. Among some of the area that bring life to this terminal is Philippine Airlines ticket office, ran by only a few staff members who tried their best to work on my requests with meager results. As I make my way out, an uplifting sight. Crew members coming in, perhaps on a sweeper flight, to bring critical cargo and stranded passengers back home. Learning that there is a flight out of this terminal, I begin to wonder if there are any travelers around who might also be making their way into departures. Sadly, no passengers in sight. In this normally jam-packed terminal, there are simply no crowd lining up. There are simply no lines. Any movement from what was once a bustling drop-off area has come to a halt, with the sound of guards whistling to persuade streams of cars to move is not anymore heard in the silence of the night. With Terminal 2 left desolate in the absence of travelers, I continue my way, quietly passing by areas empty and with no activity, if not manned by only a handful of airport staff and security. Airports are not usually recognized to be places in finding peace and solitude, but with the eerie silence brought by the lack of travelers, it somewhat gives a foreboding feel. As with Runway Manila, a walkway connecting this terminal to well-lit establishments at Newport City, now left dark and lifeless. With departures already closed in what's supposed to be among one of the airport's peak hours, I instead walk towards a well-illuminated but unpopulated area. This is Terminal 3's arrivals. As expected, businesses are closed due to the drop in passenger traffic and activities. What used to be a huge place filled with the sound of crowds stands a noiseless and empty hall, now left dull from the rage brought by the pandemic. While I move to another spot, an enlivening sight. Travelers arriving from an evening flight aboard AirAsia from Singapore. As of this recording, returning overseas Filipino workers and foreign nationals exempted under certain conditions are required to undergo swab tests as part of additional screening at the airport. Only after such process can passengers eventually make their way into arrivals. Further along, almost an entire strip seems to be deserted, with a few airport employees and security walking around the vicinity.
Too many people around except for passengers arriving at or from Singapore via AirAsia. And then according to security, some of the passengers are probably, or according to security, all of the passengers arriving here in Manila are undergoing swab tests before getting to immigration. And then yun, kaya yung iba medyo nag-iintay yung mga sundo nila kasi they have to go through that procedure. So not too many people to what used to be a very very busy terminal. Wala ngayon. It's just well lit, but it's like a ghost town.
Leaving Terminal 3, I can only watch planes parked motionless from a distance, wondering when they will be active and up in the air. As I leave for Terminal 4, I can only hope. With a dark and eerie atmosphere, Terminal 4 simply reminds us of the grim reality of how the pandemic dealt a severe blow to the airline industry. If there's anything else active in this terminal, it's just the cargo area, with freight and critical shipments perhaps being the lifeblood of every flight. Sadly, there's nothing more at Terminal 4. With the things I saw this evening, I drive back home with a heavy heart. Until the world finds a solution to this pandemic, we'll never know when we'll be able to travel as normal as before. When the restrictions for leisure travel will be totally lifted, no one knows. I can only wish this pandemic will be over soon, with bigger and better things coming not only for me, but for everyone, especially people at the airline industry.